This is Minecraft Bedrock Edition, the version of Minecraft that's available on all platforms with some differences to Java. Some of those differences are amazing, while others not so much. Today, I'll be surviving 100 days in Minecraft Bedrock. I'll build up an awesome base, attempt to beat the game, and try really hard to not die. Day 0 began like every day 0 begins. I gathered some seeds, fed a chicken, and picked flowers. What I meant to say was, I chopped down some trees, crafted a wooden pick as well as an axe, gathered cobblestone, and carried on. I took 3 sheep out so I could sleep at night, and I also needed food, so it works out very well. I hiked up a neighboring mountain and was able to make some new friends. I came across my first iron and coal of the world, cooked up some food as I mined those resources, slept my first night, and took out these zombies who didn't get much rest. Day 1 begins with the start of an exploration of this world. There were more animals along the way, and I gathered some sugarcane for future use. There was a ruined nether portal that didn't spawn a chest, so I spent some time moping. Afterwards, there was a birch forest that led to a dark oak forest that was touching the new Pale Garden. I fought the Pale Garden Guardian on my way there and entered this new biome for the first time ever. After entering and quickly getting down to half health, I realized it probably wasn't the best idea to go into these compact biomes without any proper gear. I slept the night and continued with my adventure with the plan to come back at a later day. This dark oak forest turned out to be massive, and there was a smaller Pale Garden in the mix. When I finally made it out, there was a lush cave tree right outside. This will be another spot I come back to at a later day. My first look at the new dog variant in Minecraft, and with my 3 bones, he will be mine. It's the beginning of day 3, and I've made it to the ocean. Let's craft a boat and venture off. I quickly found a shipwreck with a guardian temple that was just 100 blocks away. Not too much further was a village as well as a cherry blossom biome. I decided to check out this ship despite the guardians, and my first chest mounted to pretty much nothing. I went back down and was able to get a buried treasure map as well as the coast armor trim. I followed the map to the treasure, which was actually buried under stone, something I haven't seen before. The drown who buried this chest tried to stop me but was mostly no match. I crafted an iron shovel from what I found day 1 to try and make some progress finding this chest. After digging up a small pocket underwater to try and find the loot, I was for some reason unable to craft a crafting table. Eventually that got sorted out and I was able to keep digging. Soon after, the chest finally showed up. Let's see what we got. This has to be the worst buried treasure I've ever found. I equipped the armor, of course, and grabbed the heart of the sea, but dang, that was not worth it. It was the morning of day 5, and there was a zombie with arguably better gear. Before making my way to the village we saw earlier, there were some surface ores asking to be mined. This wasn't planned, but the entirety of the day was spent mining mainly coal. I went to mine the final pocket of coal, and when I did, I went to sleep and woke up next to a chest that I almost missed. I somehow found a buried treasure chest without the map. This is incredibly lucky and something I've never done before. This chest, unlike the last, was actually very good. A diamond, some iron, a music disc, and 4 water-breathing potions. Here at the village, I crafted a boat with a chest to make some room as my inventory was full of items I wanted to keep. Checking out the blacksmith of the village, there was another diamond, more iron, and a saddle, which was amazing to see. Day 7 hits, and after looking around, this village was much bigger than I originally thought. I ultimately did decide to leave, as this wasn't the area I wanted to live in. This lovely wandering trader gave me some leads for free, which was very nice of him. An iron pick and sword later, and it was time to leave. I went around the Guardian Temple and carried on rowing. Not far from the first one at all, there was a second ocean monument. By the night of day 7, I finally reached land, and it was a savanna biome. I got back on my boat and went along. While it was raining, I came across this mountain that looks very cool. After climbing it, I saw a pretty big village down below, and taking a look at the surrounding area made me want to live here. On the beginning of day 9, here's a better look at this world generation. Next up, it was time to get this mountain ready. I set up a little camp spot, smelted up the iron and food I had collected, and began to chop down trees, including this first spruce tree. Day 10 begins, and I was starting to question living up here. As I was looking at the previous village from the top of the mountain, I saw another village off in the distance and went to check it out. On my way there, I came across this horse, and after taming it, I went back up to the mountain to grab the saddle I found earlier. I put the saddle on and was happy to see that it was a pretty fast horse. Looking at myself now, I realized this is the first time I wore a full set of chainmail armor in years. After I noticed that, I checked the jump on this horse and was sad to see it couldn't even jump 3 blocks. I made it to the village and harvested some crops, including some carrots. I borrowed a bed from this villager on the night of day 10, and on day 11 I came across another horse. This new horse was slightly faster, but also couldn't even jump 3 blocks. The villagers had their own horse, which I thought would be faster because they kept him around, but once I rode him, he can stay here. Back at the first village next to that mountain, there were more horse paths. This first one here gave me the most trouble so far, but could actually jump. It had a similar speed to the previous 3, but could clear 4 blocks. I tested out the final horse, but it being slightly slower was an instant no. That means horse number 4 is the winner. I put the original in a pen with number 5 and went to sleep. Starting off day 12, I began to explore this village and saw a 3rd village off in the distance. I hopped on number 4 and went to check it out. This village had a much larger mountain right next to it. While I was checking out this village and its surroundings, I saw a 4th village not too far in the distance, along with another ruined nether portal. On my way to the portal, I found an open dripstone cave nearing the river. This portal was right on the edge of what looks to be a pretty big ice spikes biome, as well as a large cherry blossom biome. In the chest, there were some gold boots, but I had to stop looting quickly because number 4 stepped on a magma block, so I had to move into safety. On my way to this 4th village, I saw a really cool building in a perfect spot on top of this hill. I slept at this village, and since I know for a fact I won't be living at this one, I took the lanterns that these nice villagers were offering. I love seeing villagers like this who enjoy sharing their own source of light. 20 lanterns later, and I found some pumpkins. The generosity of these villagers won't be forgotten. Me and number 4 climbed the neighboring mountain, and on the top was the most roses I've ever seen, as well as a section with the most cornflowers I've ever seen. And you won't believe what I saw when I got to the other side of this mountain. A 5th village. I also noticed how big the cherry blossom biome is and found an amazing spot to build my base. I will say village number 3 looked great from the view of this mountain. It's the next day, and I found a donkey which I tamed for a reason I'll get into in just a moment. Once I made it to where I actually wanted to live, I set up another little camp spot and emptied my inventory. Now it's time to retrieve my loot from earlier. This was far more difficult than it should have. My plan for the donkey was to put a chest on him so I could carry all my loot from the first camp and the chest boat in one go. It started with me running up the mountain to the donkey, but forgetting to take the saddle off number 4, so I had to run all the way back to do so. Once I did, it was becoming night, so I had to run to village 5 to sleep because I didn't have my bed on me, and I got fairly low before making it there. The first 2 houses I entered didn't have beds, and the 3rd house had 2 zombies who didn't want me to sleep. Afterwards, I made it to the donkey and went all the way back to campsite 1 and gathered my loot. I went on my way to the chest boat, but I had to split off from our donkey temporarily. If it hasn't gone bad enough yet, I got lost on my way to the chest and had to look back on this video to see where the coordinates are from where I got off. It's the next day I made it back to my loot, rode back to where I dropped the donkey off, but we decided to leave. I looked around and couldn't find him, so I guess that also means bye-bye to my saddle. Awesome. I made it as far as the water could take me before this mountain cut me off, only to see that all of the loot I needed to carry could fit in my inventory with no extra chest. That being said, this entire trip was mostly unnecessary. At least on the morning of day 17, I was able to start a couch farm. Yay! It's now time to begin building my base. I started with planting spruce saplings, then went to place my sugarcane that I've been collecting. Afterwards, I terraformed some of the land below the hill where my house will be on for some space to plant some crops. I went through multiple iron hoes tearing the grass, but now that I look back, I realized that I should have used the stone hoes instead of these iron hoes to save what little iron I had. Day 19 strikes and I plant wheat, carrots, and potatoes. I chopped down 2 of the spruce trees that I had grown, and neither of them gave me any saplings. If I don't want to run all the way back to the spruce biome, I'm getting these slabs free to drop some. I dug into this mountain to start my mine shaft and to also gather some cobblestone for the upcoming build of my house. As I was digging out this first room, it led me to a hidden cave inside the mountain. It's the next day and my spruce tree still hasn't grown, so I made the decision to run back to the taiga biome to gather saplings. It's 20 days in and I still haven't built anything. I am very close to having everything I need to start building my start house. On my way there, I did loot up the ruined nether portal that I forgot to check out earlier and got 2 gold blocks as well as gold force armor and a shovel with silk pouch. I also went looking for our dog because I was in the area, and what do you know? This is great obviously to have him back, but also to get this saddle back for number 4. I chopped down some trees and got 20 spruce saplings before leaving. I made a temporary bridge to get back home and got to use my favorite feature in Bedrock, which entrance horse armor and planted all the trees. On day 23, I climbed up the mountain behind me and gathered cherry wood. While chopping down trees, I saw a really cool looking villager outpost. I also noticed that this is the biggest cherry blossom biome I've ever come across. To add to how cool this was, I found my 6th village off in the distance. Day 24, I fight my first enderman who wasn't too difficult because he's too tall. Sadly, no enderpearl. On my way home, I found an area that I like way more than I'm currently at. For the second time, I'll be leaving what I had planned to be my base and going to an even cooler location. It's close to where I live now, as I just need to follow this river. Transporting everything I have won't be too difficult because I have this boat chest. I gathered all my crops, and on day 25, I began to drop off all my loot. It only took a total of 4 trips, including getting my horse and donkey running. I then spent the rest of day 26 terraforming the lane for where my actual base will be built. Day 27 is here, and let's begin with the first build of the world. I first planted some spruce trees nearby, then began with the layout of the house. I went around building the base with cobblestone. I then added some stairs to get up to the front door. Afterwards, made an outline on the top layer with spruce logs. I then stripped those logs and built up 4 blocks on each of the corners. This chicken liked what he was seeing and decided to join me. While I build, let me explain my plan for this base. I want there to be 2 main sides, split by this line. One side will be built with mainly spruce wood in a more messy look, while the other side will focus more on cherry wood and be very clean. I've never done anything like this, but I believe it'll turn out looking very nice once I get both sides built. I'd also like to add a tower or maybe some type of dam here built with both spruce and cherry wood. Back to the build. I'm building a basement under this house where I will store all of my items for the time being. My shovel was getting low, so I left to go craft a new one, and when I did, I saw a creeper fighting a wandering trader fighting a drowned with a trident. Another thing that I've literally never seen before. I think what happened is the drowned attacked the trader, which triggered the llamas to attack the drowned, but the llamas missed when they spit at the drowned and they hit the creeper, which that triggered the creeper to explode. Day 31, let's get back to it. I continued to dig out underground with the chicken's help making executive decisions. As I placed these chests, I got even more help from the chicken. If you have any game suggestions, please let me know. I organized all my loot and planted sugarcane. Day 33, here we have a final look at my starter house. From the outside, it's very different from anything I've built before, and as we go inside, it gets pretty cozy. I don't have any windows. Instead, I use these trapdoors for spawn for glass protection. There's a ladder inside that takes me down to the chest room, and there's also a door as another way to get in and out of this chest room. Yet again, it's time to clear out some land. The rest of day 33 and most of day 34 was all digging up grass. Once I was done with that, I had an idea to allow a small river to flow through it. I began to dig out an area connected to the river we already have, and by the end of the day, I had it all dug up and ready to go. Just by placing water and going with the flow, it wasn't difficult at all to fill the entire river. This new crop farm will follow it along the sides. I borrowed some more leads from this wandering trader, and he was surprisingly impressed. All that was left was to plant the crops. I harvested the sugarcane that was growing and extended that farm. Can you guess what I did next? Yep, more terraforming. This time getting land ready for animal farms. If you look at the bright side, all this digging has gotten me a chest full of dirt. Yippee. I ran completely out of iron, so I had to revert back to stone. Day 40, I harvested some crops and extended my sugarcane farm to the other side of the lake. I cut down some trees, but couldn't cut down everyone because I have no additional iron to make another axe. Afterwards, I built this first pen for the sheep. It's very simple and has the neo-cubist entrance that works very well. I was going to do the cow farm the same, but as I ran into this hill, I decided to make the cow farm harder. The fence on the top layer goes out more than the bottom layer just due to the layer. Day 43, I transported a few cows as well as a couple sheep. Just like that, our main animal pens are complete. I want to adjust the surrounding floor and add a path, but before I do that, it's time to go mining. I haven't yet explored a cave, and now is a great time since I'm so low on some valuable resources. I ran off in a new direction and was able to find a cave very easily. Unluckily, this cave wasn't really a cave, so I went along. Not long after, I found not one, but 2 brand new villages. That makes 8 villages within not too much of a range from each other. I didn't check out either of them because at this point I just wanted to know. I found my way into my first actual cave where the skeleton breeded. I was able to find nearly a stack of iron really early on in this cave and was able to craft a full set of iron armor and more iron picks. I mined my first gold ore, gathered more iron, and fought more monsters. I successfully killed my first water flood from a very dangerous height and helped this zombie take a swim. This part of the cave would have had a lot of diamonds in past this game for years and years, and I always mined redstone knowing that I never actually would use it. Right when I thought this cave was a dead end, I had a very steep drop that led me to a mine shaft. I used my superior intellect to defeat the skeleton and found diamonds! This vein turned out to be 3, which I really thought it would just be a single. This first chest in the mine shaft gave me 2 more diamonds and a name tag. String has a very weird sound, which must be new because I don't think I've ever heard this before. I almost got comboed by these 2 creepers, which would have been a scary way to go. My next chest had a golden apple along with melon seeds. Even more diamonds. 2 at that, followed by 2 more. Since everything's in 2s, how about 2 name tags? My sword broke, so I made this lovely diamond sword, and after using iron for so long, diamond looked perfect. There was another slime who this time used his advanced intellect to get around the fence. 2 big diamonds, followed by a skeleton with an enchanted bow to almost beat me. Oh yeah, 2 more diamonds. Before I mine these, take a guess on how many there are. If you guess 1, you're wrong. Why would you guess 1? I'll give you all another chance for a point. How many diamonds are here? If you guess 2, you're wrong. Seriously, why guess 2? Night 46, I make it to surface. Day 47, I make it up. Here's a look at what we gained on this mining trip. A good amount of everything across the board. Now that I'm home, I did regular things. Harvested crops and extended the sugarcane farm. I forgot about the animals. I then added some padding to this lake. Over here on the spruce side of the lake, it needs to be very imperfect. My horse pen was in a pretty nice spot, so I decided to turn this entire section into their new home. It was getting late in a ground with a trident. Feeling like that is still a good thing. Down to one part, I was panicking to get away. I know this isn't hardcore, but I really don't like to die. I made it home and went to sleep. When I went outside to see him burn, instead of running to the water, he just trampled on crops. If we look on the bright side, number 4 and our donkey's home has been finished. It's day 50, let's do something special for this halfway point. Dig dirt. The reason I'm terraforming even more is because I want to build another mine shaft. The one I started earlier is too far away to be useful, and just like before, I want the entrance to be dug into the hill, but it needed to be more steep than it was for this to work. I dug out this opening room, then built up the interior. I added wood pillars with some spots broke and filled with rocks. I also went through the stone stairs to place in some spots to give a broken down chip floor. These fence gates up here really add to the pillars, making it look supported. This is the complete look besides more chests of the first room to this mine shaft. The rest of the day, I gathered wood and used all of the 54 to chop away. The reason I'm gathering wood right now is so I can make a build for the mine shaft. Before I move on to that, there are a few other things I'd like to get done. Starting with planting a bunch of spruce trees on this side of the lake. The other side has that cherry biome, and I want to make my own taiga biome on this side. It's just a start for now, as I don't currently have enough saplings to make it as big as I want. Making my first effort over on the cherry side of the lake, I terraformed something big. Day 60, I get back to building. This is the build for the mine shaft. I don't necessarily need this to represent what it is. I really just want to have an actual build for this spot where I'll soon be spending a lot of time mining. I built with the theme of this side using spruce and cobblestone. It's a pretty tall building, but there will be no access to the height of the build. A bigger tower will be coming. This is just a slight start. Day 62, and here's the final product. It's simple yet has detail. I connected it with a path that will look much better once I get some more bones. The sugarcane farm around this base is becoming massive. Let's see how much sugarcane I get after gathering the top 2 layers. Before we see the results, I ran over to my old base's location and finished chopping down these trees, allowing the leaves to disappear. I haven't been in simulation distance, so the leaves just sit here, but I have been in render distance, and this isn't a nice sight. The total amount of sugarcane I obtained from one whole cycle is 17 stacks. That's quite a lot, and I'll be expanding this farm along the river even more. An enchantment room is what's next on the to-do list. I've seen a lot of cool designs using nether portals, so I went to my mine shaft to actually mine in it for the first time. As I dug down, I hit a different mine shaft, a different one than the one we found earlier. I'll go past it now, but this will be fun to explore a little later, hitting level 30 at a near perfect time. Mining deep slate felt awful after just mining stone for all this time. Here's a nice plus, a new iron vein. These can have stacks upon stacks of iron. I'm not in need of iron right now, but early on getting a lot of iron can be very helpful. Oh look, a diamond. Day 68, more digging. Day 69, and I finally reached bedrock. I got pretty sidetracked from my goals as I've been getting these mineshaft go, so let's go check out the real mineshaft. I quickly got 2 name tags, which makes 5 goals so far. I of course fought some monsters, and in my third chest was another name tag along with 3 diamonds. Definitely the best chest slug I've gotten in a while. After exploring for quite a while, I found my way into this cave that looked very promising. What I want to find now is a lava pool so I can gather a lava city. I found lava, but this doesn't quite qualify. Here's Deep Slate Coal. I think it's rare, but not rare enough to loot. Day 71 begins with the battle of good versus evil. I did find diamonds while I was down here. I could have saved them for when I inevitably get fortune, but I decided to mine them anyway. Made my way into a dripstone cave that had a diamond. Soon after, I found what I've been looking for. Time to mine. I was only able to get 22 blocks, so I went to find another lava pool. 1 stack of obsidian later, I found this huge lava pool. It's fine, I can still leave the cave. I have no torches and I'm lost, so I just dug up. I completely forgot that I could just craft torches and have the wood to do so. Enjoy watching me dig up in the water. I hit sand that led to water, which turned out to be right under my base. It was raining when I made it up, but also as I got up, it stopped raining. Here's a look at the loot from this mining trip. I went on this journey mainly for obsidian, but left with loads of loot. Day 73 was about getting back to the basics. This space won't take care of itself. The next day, I noticed that the spruce trees I planted earlier were grown, so I chopped down more trees so I could extend that new biome. Once I was done with my first tree, I found this drown who was a sugarcane farmer. He did not attack me at all, and we quickly became friends. I started to build a temporary home for him so that he doesn't burn. Seconds later, he walked into the sun, so I had to act quickly to save him. Once I did, he got pretty angry with me. All I was trying to do was help. Soon after, I continued chopping and hurt him, taking damage. Our friend is now gone. I'll take his 2 sugarcane and put them in a chest. 75 days in, I gathered more wood, mainly for some saplings to expand the spruce forest. Time for the enchantment room. I gather everything I think I'll need and head to the cherry side. I started with building up 4 nether portals. These won't be to go into the nether, they're just here for that purple portal look. I then built the frames around each of the portals. Afterwards, it was time for the pillars. I mixed in some walls to add some depth to these, and after building up the pillars over and over again, I got pretty quick at it. That's to be expected, and something else that maybe was expected was me running out of deep slate. I had around 11 stacks to start, and now I'm all out. I ran down to my mine shaft and gathered more. I was on the last pillar, so I didn't need much. Now each of the 4 entrances are built, and I thought they looked too square on their base, so what I did to fix this was I got rid of each corner and replaced it with a slab. I love the outcome of this. I tried adding cherry trap doors, but didn't like how it looked. I planted 2 cherry trees at each of the corners and added to the entrances. Before I build more here, I'd like those 8 trees to grow. As far as the actual enchantment room goes, I have plenty of paper and 1 stack of lead. I crafted 21 bookshelves along with the enchantment table. I built it in the center and did get level 30 enchants. Let's grab all my lapis as well as my diamonds and do our first enchanting of the morning. This diamond pick has efficiency 4. Let's hope it's more. Now, on to diamond boots. I really want feather falling, so I got the low enchantment to do a re-enchantment, and I hope that this proc 4 was more than just proc 4. There was protection 4 for a diamond chest plate, so I had to get these 2 levels. I purposely left ores in these furnaces earlier for this exact reason. Making more animals is also a good way to gain XP. The chest plate just has protection 4. It's still very good, I was just hoping for unbreaking as well. Another pair of boots, and these got feather falling too. Not as good as what I wanted, but I'll feel much more comfortable wearing these. I also crafted diamond leggings. These will stay unenchanted for now. I'm down to just 3 diamonds. At least my other ores are looking good. It's day 83 and next up is the nether. I don't like the nether, but this is a great way to get ender pearls as well as fast XP since I somehow have not come across a mob spawner. I'll also need some blaze rods, and this is pretty much the only place you can get them. I didn't have an actual plane for where I wanted the portal to go, so I placed it here. I'll make a build for this later on. I got pretty unlucky with my spawn as I'm here in the Crimson Forest, which I really don't like. I ran off, staying high to the trees because I don't want to worry about the monsters below. After bridging across a couple lava lakes, I saw a wolf forest in the distance. That was very lucky as it's very close, but I get even luckier when I find the nether fortress buried within this wolf forest. I fought this enderman without any safety net and got an ender pearl. I then got a second one with a safety net. The difficulty is on hard, and there are 5 wither skeletons in one small area. Time to check out this fortress. I mine these ores mainly for their XP. Here's a blaze spawner that I'll be farming blaze rods from, even if these skeletons don't like it. 12 blaze rods, I'll call it a day. 4 skeletons and 2 blazes. I don't think so. This chest was buried underground. So was this one. I was ready to take on 2 wither skeletons, but apparently they were playing squads. Skeleton versus blaze. Who wins? Farming ender pearls time. Once I had a stack and was level 30, I left to go back home. I made it back and dropped from the decorative portal. Defeating the ender dragon is what I plan to do next. To prepare myself for this fight, I craft an additional 10 gold apples, make a travel bed, and since I'm level 30, I'll max enchant a bow. What I want to get most on it is infinity. When I make it to the enchantment table, there is an unbreaking 3 that I'll go for, hoping it also has infinity. This just might be the best possible bow you can get. Unbreaking 3, flame, power 4, punch 2, and infinity. This is definitely the best bow I've ever gotten in any Minecraft build before. Minecraft must have recently changed the animation for opening a door with a bow because this looks very new. Also, these bubble sounds seem to be new. I don't believe I've heard them before. I'm not pushing this off. Let's find the stronghold. I feel the Eye of Ender and see the direction I need to go. This is everything I'm bringing with me for this fight. I'll be using this bow to at least get close to it. It's much faster than running, and the river does go in that direction. I make it to village number 2 from the earlier days, and usually in Minecraft Bedrock, the stronghold spawns under villages, so I threw the eye hoping for that, and need to go further. Do Nautilus shells have a 100% drop rate? I'm pretty sure every time I see one, I get one. I came across a village I haven't seen yet and hope for the stronghold to be here. No such luck. I hit the ocean and rode on. Here's an underwater structure that I really thought would have a chest. The ocean monument yet again. Not much further was another one. That makes 4 ocean monuments so far. I reached land, saw a jungle in the distance, and threw another eye. The stronghold has to be very close. The savanna biome, look away. A couple more throws and here we are. There's a village and villager outpost nearby too. Day 89, I dug a staircase down and hit deep slate. Then hit the stronghold. I found the library. The books can stay for now. Oh look, another armor train. After getting lost for way too long, I finally found the room. I'm glad I have all these extra eyes because this portal was nearly empty. I threw out the loot I didn't want to keep and completed the portal. Time to take on the ender dragon. I started this fight like any other as I aimed for the towers. The opening attack from the dragon took half my health and I really was fearing death. I continued to take out the towers but kept running into trouble with these endermen. I'm so glad I brought gold apples. This was the actual in-game sound by the way. The ender dragon was literally breaking the sound barrier. I tried to stick it out and defeat the dragon, but these endermen are too much. Just like that, I've conquered the end. That fight was pretty difficult overall and very scary. I hit level 70 and didn't forget to grab the egg. I could have just left at this point, but instead I decided to go through this so I can get shulker chests and of course the elytra. I spawned in and was very happy to see an end city so close. Unfortunately, there was no ship, meaning no elytra. I still decided to loot it just in case there were nice chests. I got pretty low here due to the endermen that don't like me for some reason. Yay, I can fly! Oh, is that an actual end city? It turns out that the end city actually did spawn right next to where I spawned. That is crazy lucky. Never before has this happened to me. I barrel across the board on controller so I can crouch. For some reason, Bedrock keyboard and mouse doesn't allow you to have a toggle crouch option. You can only hold. The opening chest of this city only has iron loot. Wait, this is actually a very good diamond shovel. Chest 2, nothing. Usually these cities have pretty good loot. I'm not collecting any end rods because I recently found out that you can just craft them. These are the chests normally come from. An upgraded sword, even with the cursive binding, upgraded pick, and upgraded boots with Feather Falling 4. This is why Feather Falling 4 is probably my favorite enchant in the game. Feather Falling 4 really helps a lot, but it will not help this. The elytra are now mine. Let's see what these chests have. Not the greatest loot, but I do believe it can be useful. The second chest has some diamonds. Usually that won't be too helpful because by this point I have a lot, but since I only have 3 at home, very helpful. I built a platform for the dragon head and flew on home. There is my first death, and now you know why I'm not on hardcore. I didn't have my helmet or chest plate on, and it was just way too easy for them. And sadly, wearing the dragon head doesn't make them not want to fight me. I make make my way back down, get lost again, and end up trapping myself. I'm glad I at least left some apples behind. Right here, I was pulling up full footage to get coordinates to the portal because I was lost for a third time. I make it to the end, get an ender pearl, and spawn in on my loot. I didn't get everything back as some of my new gear had Curse of Vanishing. I did get all of my main loot along with the elytra. I really didn't think I'd suffer 2 deaths, especially after making it past the dragonflight deathless. I have the elytra but don't have any rockets, so I will have to run and sail in. I didn't notice until now, but there was all 70 of my rockets. The entire day went by and I made it back home. Out of pure sadness, I harvest wheat, carrots, potatoes, sugarcane, and fed the animals. There's still 4 days left, and I'd like these not to be wasted. Speaking of wasting things, here's where my bone mill couldn't help these saplings grow because they had no space to grow. It shouldn't have taken half a stack for me to witness. I do think I'll be doing a 200-day video in this world. Let me know if you're interested in that. I'll spend these last 4 days more or less preparing for the future. I started by bone milling the paths nearby, then went to attack some trees. Getting wood is nice, but this is mainly for the saplings, so on day 97 I can expand the spruce biome. Since we're expanding biomes, let's plant some more cherry trees on this side. The main cherry biome is huge, but it ends just before the cherry base. So I'll do this to close the gap. Since I have this efficiency for a shovel, I wanted to clear out more land. This is something that took days in the past, but now I can do it all in less than a single day. One final day before the 100th day of this world. I have so much dirt from all the digging I've done, and the last stack did not want to go into the chest. This dirt must have been grass and really enjoyed the sunlight. I crafted 9 rockets as that's all I could because I only had 3 gunpowder and flew off for real this time. I went to go check out the villages I saw earlier but didn't go to yet. I flew to this first one and it was pretty nice. It had a flower forest up top and nice generation behind. On my way to the second unexplored village, there was a ruined nether portal with just alright loot. This second one didn't really have anything here, but in the distance I somehow saw another unexplored village. That means I have found 11 different villages in the 100 days. The blacksmith didn't have good loot, but I was just happy to see a blacksmith spawn. I flew home on night 99 and woke up on day 100. I'm very happy with how these 100 days went. I started a nice base with all the necessities, made some nice progress, and have a lot ready for the future of this world.